Our next task in the design of the time class is to create some accessor methods that allow us access to the different data members of the class. We're going to look at three different accessor methods. The first will be a set time that sets all three aspects of the time. Then we'll look at set methods that allow us to set the hours, minutes, and seconds, although we're not going to actually implement all three of those. And then we'll look at get methods that allow us to return an individual part of the time, with either the hours, the minutes, or the seconds. And again, we're not going to implement all three. We'll save those for later. So let's start off with set time. Set time is a void method, but it is public because, again, we want the user of our class to have access to it. It will take three parameters, the hours, the minutes, and the seconds, and its body, the definition, will actually be the same as for our fully parameterized constructor here. So we're just going to copy this code directly and paste it in for the set time method. And just checking to see if everything looks correct. So we'll use this method when we create a time object with a default constructor and then want to go in later and set the time for that object. We can do it in three parts by setting the hours, minutes, and seconds in one method call by calling set time. We'll look at how that works in just a moment. If we want to set one piece of the time, for example, hours, we can write a method called set hours. Set hours will take one parameter, an hour, and then it will set the hours. We can copy a piece of set time to make that work to save us a little typing, like so. And that should be all we need for set hours. You can implement set minutes and set seconds in the very same way. Now let's look at a get method. The get method will be a little bit different than the set methods because they are value returning methods. They're going to return an integer, either the hours, the minutes, or the seconds. These are very easy to implement because all you're doing is returning one data member from a class object, either the hours, the minutes, or the seconds. So the getters are very easy to implement. Now let's test these three methods to see how they work. So first of all, we want to save the file. And then we want to compile. Everything should be good there. Now bring up our working program and let's start completely over again. Let's create the time with a default constructor. Then we'll set the time, like so. Then let's display it so we can see what we've got. Then let's set the hours to a different time. Then let's display it again. Again, just testing to make sure all this works correctly. And then let's return just the hour itself. Like so. So let's save this file. Compile it. Whoa. Try that again. Oh, I see what I did. There. Simple mistake, but as I'm following my policy of not hiding my mistakes so you can see them. So all I did was I forgot to call the set time method even though I used it with its parameters. I do that a lot when I'm trying to type and think and talk at the same time. So let's try this again. Still have an error. Let's look and see if we can figure out where it is. So it's on get hours that it's telling us that there's an error. Oh, I see. Very simple mistake that time. Forgot to capitalize the T. So let's save it. Many times your errors will be nothing more than typos. And you see with me, it's either typos or forgot to do something. So we set the time to 13:02. We display it. Then we change the hours to 15 and we display it and the hour is 15. So our set and get methods work just fine. Let's go back and look at the class definition real quick. And there they are. There's set time, there's set hours, and there's good hours. And again, I'll leave as an exercise for you to figure out how to implement those for minutes and seconds. But all you have to do is follow the pattern I've set here, and you shouldn't have any trouble getting those to work. So that wraps up this part of our implementation of the time class. What I want to do now is get away from just returning information and see how we can actually go about doing something functional with our time class. So we're going to look at implementing a method called increment that allows us to change the time in some manner. And we'll see that in the next lesson.